Many agriculture and food systems researchers are intrigued by the idea of systems research, but don't know how to get started. You might have a general idea of what systems research is, but don't know how to apply it to your field. And why should you? Well, Dr. Vivian Allen, noted farming systems researcher at Texas Tech, thinks very positively about systems research for young researchers as well as the more seasoned.
If you're a brand new assistant professor, don't be the one that puts the team together and goes and finds the funding and starts the whole project, because you won't be around long enough to get the publications and to show the results within the 10-year, 5-year promotion framework that we usually operate in. But if there is systems research going on, it is absolutely a goldmine of opportunities for young assistant professors to come in to an ongoing project such as this one. You can come in and you can get information quickly about whatever aspect you're interested in. You've already got years of effect that you're measuring. It's very quickly publishable in major journals, and you will be able to take those steps towards promotion and tenure very successfully. So it's a ready-made laboratory to work in. You don't want to be the one to create the laboratory at that point, but come into our laboratory and do that. We've had, again, a young scientist from the USDA who studies soil microbes, and she came in when we were about 4 years into this project and took soil samples for microbial activity, and within 1.5 years she had papers published in the major journals of her field.
Experienced systems researchers think in systems terms, broadly, and then apply that thinking to their local issues. Anthony Floccavento, for example, applied his thinking to Appalachia.
That my emerging definition of systems was that it's got to be a thread that links all those pieces together, but also goes sideways. So it's going straight from production to table, but it's also sideways. Like, where are we getting the tools that we need, the seeds and the tools to do this production? What about things like transplants? Are we going to have to import them, or can that be part of the picture? What about the expertise? Are we always going to have to import that, or can we build our own base of expertise? So my systems definition kind of grew out of that. It's from A to Z, linking all those points, but it's also moving laterally so that we're taking gaps and turning them into opportunities.
Charlie Jackson, working in western North Carolina, used the same approach to getting started in food systems research.
We wanted data, we wanted research that was going to guide the actions of my organization. So the importance of the research that we did on our local food system is hard to overestimate. It truly is now a guide in which we are able to make strategic decisions to achieve our mission of trying to help keep farms here in western North Carolina and the Southern Appalachians.
Okay. Some more advice we hear is to get lots of ideas about systems to deepen your understanding. This might be your colleagues, other researchers, and just profound thinkers.
I have to give credit to Wendell Berry, who I consider to be my #1 mentor from afar. I remember reading an essay of his where he talked about that we need to solve for pattern, that so many modern problems, not just in agriculture, but all kinds of problems in our society and economy, are the fact that we take this linear orientation and we try to come up with single solutions for single problems. And problems are always multifaceted, and the solutions should be multifaceted.
Our experts have found that identifying a specific need is a good catalyst to getting started, as well as the immersion technique. Just jump in.
If you can insert yourself in that, but still be engaging with a wider group of people that maybe aren't immediately engaged in trying to get the job done, that's where you can get that broad perspective. So you're in the trenches, that gives you the urgency, that gives you that problem-solving thing that helps you look for turning problems into opportunities, but you're also needing that wider pool of people, perspectives, even reading, very importantly, systems research, people like Wendell Berry, who's a total systems thinker. Have your head engaged as well, obviously. That'll help you solve some of the problems, and it'll also help it all fit into the picture.
Paul Mueller and Vivian Allen are two of the most noted senior farming systems researchers. They have years of experience, which they share and use to mentor beginning researchers. They have always worked as part of a team with colleagues.
It's clear to me that if you don't have the institutional support to start with, I don't think you can succeed. So I think that's the first step. The institution has to be behind you. Your colleagues need to be with you. And then comes the possibility of getting extramural funding.
And even young researchers should see systems research positively, but with some cautions.
And the problem is that when young assistant professors come into the university community, they're really focused on one thing, and that's getting tenure. And often they see an experiment that is focused on the long term as a kind of distraction from getting from point A to point B. And that's the very reason why I think that having the ability to nest smaller studies within the overall structure of the experiments is critical to engaging young faculty, because they can accomplish what they need to do at the same time that we're working on those long-term goals of the system study.
Perhaps one of the wisest and obvious startup strategies we heard was from Dr. Allen. She advises to start in stages.
I think there are two things you can do. You can start working towards that opportunity and creating that opportunity, and hopefully that will become a possibility. Or you can look around and see who else is already doing it, and it doesn't necessarily have to be at your university. One of the examples that I like to give on that is when I was at Virginia Tech and we were about 5 years into a systems research project, I had a call from a professor from Auburn, and they were interested in plant genetics, forage genetics, and they could come up and take samples within our systems, answer the question they wanted to answer within the systems context, and get publishable information, and they didn't have to recreate that at Auburn to do it. Another example is here. We were 4 or 5 years into this research when a young researcher came over and said, I'd like to look at the soil microbial activity, and was able to come in and do that. Now, she would never go and set up an experiment like this to be able to just answer that question, but because this is here, it's a wonderful platform for people from anywhere around the world to come and work within the system.
We know that systems research doesn't always go perfectly, but that is no reason to avoid systems research. In fact, just the opposite. With systems work, we accept the complexity and move forward.
To me, there's an obstacle in getting at something that's going to be really valuable to you, in that you assume you already know the answer, or you already know exactly where things are. This kind of comes back to what I was just saying about really learning as you progress. And the reason I say that, I've been doing this work for a long time, and I feel like I'm at a point where I have a pretty good understanding of how much I don't know. And so I think that it's really almost a mistake of somebody who is just getting into it to kind of assume they know a lot more than they do. And I would encourage that ability in people that were going to undertake this kind of research to have the flexibility to learn.